Hello. I hope everybody's doing well. I feel like it's been a while. The kids are finally back at school. If you guys have kids, I'm sure everybody is delighted that they are. I actually like it that they're home. My kids are older, so I don't have to worry about getting them off to school and stuff. So I'm just making sure we are live. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've had a few people asking how we create the clip art for our members. And so we put this clip art. I'm going to just show you what we're talking about. And I'm going to refresh this because I fixed this. There we go. So this is the Spreadsheetables vault that we have available for our members. And in here we have spreadsheets and different things that help you sell your digital products to others. So Pinterest pins and keywords and mock-ups and things like that. But you'll notice that we have clip art in here, and there's multiple pages. You can go to the next page, and there's clip art in here. And we've had lots of questions on how are we creating this clip art. So this is a quick tutorial on how to do that. Actually, I'm not sure how quick it'll be, but we will get through this together. I'm putting myself on the spot here to do this, praying that the internet holds up. So to create the clip art, we are using Midjourney. And with Midjourney, it is paid. It used to have a free package for it that you could try it out and then upgrade by paying. But now I believe there is no free trials. You just have to pay right off the bat. I think the lower package is $10 and then the second package is $30 and it goes up from there. I think it's well worth it, especially if you are into selling digital products or if you're wanting to pretty your spreadsheets up if you're selling those. And that's what we're here for. I know we're a spreadsheet group and we're going live in our Google Sheets tips and tricks, as well as the Spreadsheet Hub. And we are all about spreadsheets, but we also like incorporating clip art into our spreadsheets to create bingo cards and to just make spreadsheets a lot prettier than we're used to. So yeah, and I guess I should introduce myself. My name's Melinda. And I'm kind of Andrea is the brains behind like the deeper spreadsheets. I can do spreadsheets as well, but she's just on a whole other level. And then I like to take the spreadsheets and morph them into something else, reskin them, decorate them, make them really fun, find out what's trending, and create new spreadsheets from the ones that we have in the vault. So I've been using Midjourney is an AI art program. I've been using AI art since last fall because I had been using Jasper AI as a writing tool even before that time, and then they had come out with Jasper AI art. So I had started using it then for blog posts to create graphics from then, and then I got into the Midjourney and creating prompts. And there's lots of ways. I know that you're paying for Midjourney, but there's lots of ways to earn that money back. So you can create clip art and sell it to others. You can create digital products that use the clip art or images and sell it to others. And you can also sell the prompts. So I sell the prompts to other people. The clip art's available in our membership, and then we're also making digital products with the clip art and the images. So we're doing kind of all of those three things. And it's pretty high in demand, I would say. Midjourney, I think sometimes people overthink it. It's relatively easy to do. So you can go in there and create anything you want, but people are still willing to pay to buy your clip art because, it still takes that thought process of what you're going to create. So to get started, and first off, we have resources for you guys and different Facebook groups and memberships that we know of that link really well and teach these things. So we're going to link the memberships and Facebook groups that we're not a part of, but we know that they're very helpful for if you want to expand your knowledge on this. So we wanted to get you guys started with this video today. So with Midjourney, you're also going to need Discord. And Midjourney has a really great quick start guide here. And I can link this for you guys. Everything's on Midjourney on how to get started. And they have this quick start guide. And you literally just follow the steps. So if you'll notice, I'm going to go back and show you, this is Midjourney. So this is my Midjourney. And then I also have Discord. And you need both of these to be able to create the products that you're looking for or the graphics. So in Discord, this is where, I'm going to just hide that for a second. In Discord, down below where it says message, this is where I'm actually typing in these prompts. And a prompt is the instruction that you type in to create an image. So this is where you're creating them. And then once you scale them up, which we'll talk about in a bit, they go into Midjourney here. And this is where you would download them to your computer and then use them from there. And before we get too deep into it, these images that we create are great for digital products that are going to remain on your computer. But if you're going to use them for printable products or sell them as clip art to others, you're probably going to want to upscale them further than what Midjourney does. So in Midjourney, they say that these are upscaled, but they're not big enough. The DPIs aren't big enough for printing products. It might end up being blurry for you. So to be on the safe side, you want to upscale it from there. So I'm using Discord and Midjourney to create the graphics. And then I use this program, Upscale, AI Image Upscaler, to boost the size of the images. So I would definitely do that if you are selling printable products. This upscale program that I use is free, but you do need a computer with a graphics card. So I have a Mac that's fairly new and it has a graphics card. So you will need that for this program, but there is other programs that can upscale clip art that I don't think need the graphics card. And again, I can link you to some Facebook groups that are really helpful for people listing out the different programs that you can use. Okay, so, sorry, let me get rid of this. Okay, so we were talking about Midjourney. So we talked about the quick start guide. So you would follow these steps here. So you're going to get Discord and log in. You're going to subscribe to the Midjourney plan. You're going to join Midjourney server on Discord. And so you're literally just walking through all of these steps. You can go to the general or newbie channel to start off. I will warn you, it's a bit confusing when you go to create your first images and you're on these shared servers that everybody's images is coming into. And so it feels like you lose your image because there's constantly another image coming in and you're having to scroll and look for your images. So this is fine to get started, but just know that Midjourney has instructions. This is another page I can link to you guys, that you can have your own server. And so that's what mine is here. This is my own server, so it's all my own images. Instead of, let me see if I can remember how to go to these general. Okay, so newbies, let's go into here. This is where people usually start. And you can see down here, I could type in my prompt and my image would show up, but you are seeing my computer's having trouble or my internet's having trouble at the moment, but you would see everybody else's artwork, which is fun for inspiration for sure. But if you're trying to find your images, it can be a little overwhelming when you first start it. So just know that you can create your own server so that you have all your own images in that server. Okay, so let's talk about the prompting. So I'll start right off. Somebody had asked how we had created the teddy bears that we had in our membership here. So we're going to go back. And they were asking about these teddy bears here. So because sometimes these images take a bit to load, I'm going to right off the bat type in a prompt. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to do a slash and you're going to write imagine. And then we're going to type, this is a very basic prompt. So a lot of the clip art I've done is watercolor because I think it's pretty. So I'm going to type in watercolor and we're going to do a brown teddy bear. And I usually write, we want to instruct this. If you're looking for clip art, you want to instruct it that you're looking for clip art. So you can type in vector, clip art, or you can do one of those or both, and then do white background, because I want to be able to remove the background. And sorry, I should have mentioned that. I also use, so we talked about using Midjourney. We talked about using Discord to get the images. We use Upscale to make the images printable or a higher quality. And I use Canva to remove the background. Now there is apps that will do both, which is helpful. Okay, so that's why I want a white background, or I just want like a plain background so that I can easily remove that background when we do the clip art. Okay, so I'm going to just hit enter. Oh, I'm not in my own server. I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm going to, it'll still create it here, but I'm going to go back to my own server so that we can find our images easier. Okay, so always make sure you do the slash imagine in front of your prompt or it's not going to do anything. So I can show you that here. If I had just typed it in without imagine and clicked enter, you're going to see that it's not pending or doing anything. So then you'll know you forgot to put slash imagine in front of it. So here you can see this one's working. So it tells you what percentage it is complete. And it's loading there. It's not the fastest, but I think it's gotten faster than it used to be. Okay, so it's generated. It will always generate 4 different images for you, and it will always be in a square. And you can definitely generate different ratios of these images using parameters, and we'll get to that in a minute. But we just wanted to do a basic prompt. You're usually doing what the subject is at the start. You could have put watercolor after. You could have done like teddy bear, brown, watercolor, vector, clip art. So doing all these descriptive words after, but in general, we tend to put like the subject at the start. And we'll talk about parameters. Parameters would go after all of this. So once you have these 4 generated, if you like them, you can upscale them here. So this is image 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so say I like, when I look at these images, sometimes it does some weird things. I'm going to click on it so it zooms in. With hands and feet, sometimes, especially human beings, it might have like a 6th finger or something funky going on. So I want to look at the images close up to see if there's anything weird going on. So this one has 4 toes and 4 toes. So at least they match. It doesn't have an uneven number of toes. And I can, zoom in further to kind of inspect them to make sure they look okay. Okay, so from here, say I like, so we said this was 1, 2. So say I like 2, I'm going to choose upscale 2. So now it's going to generate a larger version of this one right here. Now I'm going to go back to this. And so these were all the upscale where it says U. This V means you're looking for like a slight variation. So I'm going to pick number 1 just because it has more stuff going on. So I want to see what it does. So I'm going to click V1. And it's going to generate it down below here. So we'll see how much it changes. This one that we upscaled, I'm going to pop over to Midjourney and show you if it's shown up in my feed here. So it hasn't yet, but I'm going to refresh and see if it has. Okay, so you see that the teddy bear has shown up here, and this is where I would download or save the image. And we'll get back to that in a moment. Okay, so with this image, we can use it as is. It's already over in Midjourney, so we could just save it, or we can choose to play around with a little bit. So if we want a variation of this, like a strong variation, we can select this button. If we want to have a subtle variation, we can click this button. We can zoom in and out of the image, which isn't as applicable with Clipart because we just have a white background. But if you have like a photographic image or a painting, you can choose to zoom in and zoom out. And you can even expand the image to the left, right, up, or down. So if this was a image like with a cabin in the corner and a lake here, and you wanted the image to show more of like what's on the left side of the cabin, you could click on the arrows and it will give you a variation of that. I hope that makes sense. So just for fun, we're going to click very strong and see what happens. And these buttons are helpful if you do sell clip art or you want similar style but different clip art images for your spreadsheets. This is helpful to give you different ones. And if you're selling clip art packs, then you can vary those images and then put something together that looks like a cohesive package. Okay, so if you remember, this one was the variation that we did of number 1 here. And you'll see all these images are coming in the order that I click on the buttons or request the prompts. Okay, so you can see that it's varied the bow tie and the splashes in the background and the leaves. So that's, I don't know, it's just interesting to see what it comes up with and see, like if you like something but it's not quite right, then try a variation and see if it'll come up with something different. And again, so you could try that with, let's see, with a subtle variation. Let's try this one here with a subtle variation. And we had clicked a strong variation on this one. So you can see again, it's varied the background and the face and the size of the body of the teddy bear. And this one is the subtle variation. So this one's done already. So you can see it's kind of kept consistently where the teddy bear is leaning a little bit and the face is kind of similar. And then it's changed a little bit of the backgrounds and a little bit of the bow, but not too much variation. Okay, so that is basic prompting. I tend to do a lot of stuff with watercolor because it's popular, people like it. I like that it's loose and flowy, but then I also like flat vector art. So let me just try something to see what comes up. Let's do a camping tent. Flat vector image, white see what comes up for that. Okay, so it says waiting to start here. And while we're waiting for that to load, I was saying I tend to use watercolor or flat vector I like as prompts, but there are lots of different descriptive words that we can use to change the style of what we're trying to generate. You don't always have to do watercolor. So this is in Midjourney. They're talking about exploring prompting. And so they list out lots of different mediums. Like you can have, I like pencil sketch too. I've done that, or a drawing. Some of the floral clip art graphics we have in the membership are drawings, which I really like. This has got pixel art here. This one's watercolor, which we've been doing. Block print is kind of cool. So this is a great resource to scroll through and see what you like. There's charcoal, continuous line art is a nice one as well. You can mention time periods. I've generated some of these. This cool cat is fun. Expressing emotion. So you can type in cat and it will give you a cat, but then all of a sudden you can have a happy cat, which is fun. Or, this is an embarrassed cat or a shy cat. So think of those emotions when you're describing a prompt. You can incorporate different colors, environmental exploration. So there's lots of different things you can mention when you're prompting. We talked about a basic prompt. Again, we're in Midjourney in this section. They're talking about the prompts. So you can just have a description like we've done. We've just done a basic prompt of the object and maybe some of the style that we're looking to have. There's more advanced prompting. You can use images in your prompts to guide it. Your text prompt would be what we just did, so a description of what you want with the image. And then there's also these parameters, and I've mentioned those before. So let's show you what those are. Parameters are seen at the end of a prompt to give it further instruction. So I tend to use this for aspect ratio. So if you want, let's do one right now. Oh, here's our flat vector image that came up. It's a little bit more detailed than I was hoping, but you could always take that prompt and keep playing with it. So let's see, camping. What was I gonna do? Camping. Let's see. Oops. By a lake, sunset. And then at the end, I'm going to put this parameter. So you're going to do 2 dashes AR, and I tend to do a 6:4 ratio if I'm doing maybe a blog post image. So I will show you what that comes up with. Now this is, oops. Hang on. Let's try. Doesn't like my, oh, I typed ratio after. Oops. Okay. There we go. Sorry. So just make sure, this is what happens when we're live and I'm on the spot. My brain goes out the window. Okay. So when we did our prompt here, camping, landscape, scenery, lake, sunset, and then we added the parameter, you can't just add words after the parameters. The parameters have to be at the end. So don't start adding more descriptive words and things at the end because it won't, it'll give you this error. Okay, so you'll see that it's already starting to generate these images, and they are not the 1-to-1 ratio images that we had before. So if you don't tell it specifically what the ratio is, it's going to do a square, a 1-to-1. So if you want to change the size of it, you need to enter a parameter in there to instruct it to do that. So you'll see now that it's a 6-to-4 ratio. So parameters can also, you can do kind of negative instructions. So if you don't want a sky, for this example, it said no sky. You can use this chaos number to produce more unusual and unexpected generations of the image. You can change the quality of it. You can use different, I don't see it here, different versions of Midjourney. Here, this one's saying switch between versions of Midjourney, model version 5.1 and 5.2. You can stylize, you can do a tile parameter, so it'll create an image that you can put together to create a repeating pattern. So we can link this for you guys, and you guys can play around with this. I tend to just use like the aspect ratio and maybe like the negative prompting. So this one here, like if you don't want plants or like no background, that kind of thing, you can use that. Okay, this one is explaining the aspect ratios, and we've already talked about that. We talked about adding your own server. What else? Oh yeah, okay, so downloading from Midjourney. Okay, so let's go back to Midjourney. So in here, you'll see I've been working on these autumn trees. And I showed you how to download them. So you can save the image to your computer just by clicking that button. If you're creating a bunch of images like I have here, you can click this arrow up above and it will, or this cursor, and it will allow you to select multiple images. So I can go in here and select all the trees, and I can click open downloader and then download all. And it's saying it'll do a batch size of 250. I haven't done that many at once, but I've probably done 20 or so, and it downloads it pretty quickly. And that's a much faster way to do that. Okay, I'm going to unselect these. You can, under these options, you can favorite your images so that you can easily find them. And how you would find them is these sort buttons up here. So you can click on the favorited and it will show you your favorites. You can also go back to your images and find the prompts that you were using. So let's see. If I go back to this one, you can copy the prompt or the full command. So the full command, I believe, includes like further parameters and variations that you've added on. So you can copy this prompt if you like it and go back to Discord and Imagine, put in the prompt. And then if I'm creating like different Clipart packages and maybe I want something to be cohesive, one way to create different variations is changing some of the instructions. So changing the pink peony to maybe a white one. That's a way you can reuse your prompts. If you really like it, then take that prompt and just tweak it a little bit. Okay, so you can see I was creating blog post images here. I really like these pumpkins, and I wanted to create more in this style, but unfortunately this prompt is very basic. So for me, I'm not going to be able to create consistent images in this style. That's the one thing with Midjourney is if you type in something very basic, you can get really incredible images, which is awesome. if you're selling clip art or you're wanting to create a cohesive look with, like, if I wanted pumpkins and gourds and fall leaves all in this style, you're going to have to get good with your prompt, that it's solid enough that I can take this prompt and just switch out the word pumpkin to leaf or a gourd or something else, and it will keep creating that same style. I think that's why watercolor is nice and easy, because it's kind of a consistent style that works well with Midjourney, and that you can just switch out the objects and create something that looks consistent. And you can even create variation with the watercolor. If you describe it as a really loose watercolor, then it's going to be something that's a little bit more flowy than something that's more structured for the watercolor. Okay, so once I download the images, that's all I would do. If I was actually, no, I would probably go into Canva and let me see if I can log in. Okay, we're going to go to Instagram Square. I'm going to see if I already have something in here. Okay, so this would have been something I created in Midjourney. So this is my next step. If I'm going to use the clip art for something, I like to remove the background. So what I'm doing right now is actually just showing you that there is a background on here. I'm assuming, I hope. Yeah. Okay, so because this is white, you can't tell that there's a white background. So my next step with these Midjourney clip arts is to remove the background. Actually, I should have left that on there so you can see. Okay, so with this step in Canva, I believe you need Pro. I live off of Bubbly. I don't know if anybody else does, but okay. So once I have the image selected, I'm going to click on Edit Photo. And Canva has introduced all these really cool tools available to us. And there's this one called Background Remover. So I'm just going to click it. And it's usually pretty good, unless you have a really scattered, like, watercolor background. I should try and find one of those for you to see. But you can see how quickly it removed the background. And so what I would do is, if I had a lot of them, I would, create a bunch of frames. I would go and start dragging these and removing the background. And while that's thinking, move on to the next one. Remove the background. You'll notice that one it wasn't necessarily white. I had instructed for a white background, and sometimes you'll get off-white, which is fine for clip art, maybe not if you're doing another project, but it's fine for Canva. Like, Canva is going to identify that background and just remove it for us. Okay, and so I would size these appropriately to the square here so that there's not a lot of blank space when we go to download these. Like, you don't want to have it like this and download it, because then you're going to have this huge empty space. Even though there's no background, when you go to put it in spreadsheets and things, it's going to have this big empty space around it, which is kind of irritating. So I would make them as big as you can without cutting them off. Okay, we won't do all of them here. And then when you go to download, we're going to download, PNG is fine, and then go transparent background. And so we're going to download those just to see. Okay, so that's our image there. I'm going to show Inspector to show you that you can see the DPI of this image. And so it's showing at 96, which is not, this wouldn't be super clear if you printed it out. I'm just going to zoom in. Like you see, it's a little bit, it can be a little bit blurry. It's not too bad. But if you were to print it, it wouldn't be the greatest. But I wanted to show you how to remove the background. If you're just using this in a spreadsheet or a digital product that's not going to be printed, this is completely fine. You don't need to upscale it. Now, if I was going to upscale it, which I do for the membership, I'll show you how to do that. So in this, a lot of the programs are probably the same. This one I like because I'm able to batch upscale. So I can do a whole folder at once. So I'm going to click, no, I'm going to do one. I'm going to select image. And I'm going to select the ones that we just did, or one of the ones. I'm going to click open. This one's set to digital art. You could change the settings here. This is automatically going to go to my downloads folder, and then I'm going to click upscale. So it's telling me here it's going to go from 1080 by 1080 to 4320 by 4320. So I'm going to click upscale, and that's going to, I'm going to say this isn't the fastest process. I'm not sure any of the upscales are, if anybody knows of ones that are super fast, but they tend to take some time, but that's fine. I usually flip over to Midjourney and keep creating them, or I'll be downloading Clipart into a folder, getting ready to upscale more. Okay, so that's done already. So you can see with this slider, I hope you can see the detail. That's what it was before. And then the after, it just becomes really crisp and clear, which is amazing. So my preference is, if you're selling or providing people clip art, I would upscale it, because you don't know what they're going to use with or create with that clip art. You don't know if they're doing printable products. I feel like you might have some unhappy customers if you don't upscale it and they've created things and they're selling it and then find out that the print quality is no good. So I think customer service would be a problem with that. But if you're just doing this for your own spreadsheets and you know you're not going to be printing them, then I think it's fine. So I think this is really cool how AI is able to do so much now to help us with these things. Okay, so yeah, so with the upscale, if I'm upscaling, I tend to, just because we have somebody that helps us, I tend to create the images, I'll upscale them, because not everybody's computer is able to do the upscaling. And then we put it into Canva and take the backgrounds off. You can see too, I haven't had a chance to add any of these to the vault, but I think they're really pretty to create headers and banners and things. These were all created with Midjourney as well. And I'm seeing a lot of people creating like journal covers and planner covers with this kind of art. So you can create a lot. This style is alcohol ink, which is kind of neat. Okay. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I'm just going to check online. Feel free to drop your questions down below, and we'll answer whatever questions you might have. See, I said this was going to be quick, and it's already like 40 minutes in. So we'd love to hear if you guys are creating your own clip art currently, if you want to be creating your own, and maybe what you would be using it for. So drop your questions below. We're happy to answer them. We'll drop a bunch of resources down below that can help you out as well. So thanks, guys. Hope you have a good night.